So what is a memory? The definition of memory is the mind's ability to store, hold, and recall information of an event or a specific thing that happened in the so-called linear past. So really, it is a mental image. It gets stored in the form of an image. And every time you are able to recall the image, which is your free will, you can recall it as many times as you want. You can recall all sorts of images, whether they are lived or imaginary, as long as you know that they are ultimately images once the past has passed. So technically there is no past. You can blur the lines if you want. If you want to keep it, you can keep it. So every time you recall a memory, you will notice that the image is not exactly the same as it might have been before, especially the farther away or so-called older the memory is. Say, for example, your first backpack for school. I don't know if you remember it, and if you do, how accurately can you remember it if it's not in your possession currently? You can't, so you almost imagine it up. So, anything to do with experiences in the past and the getting of outcomes and desires in a conscious way, manifesting, so to speak, you are able to recall a memory and you can see it differently on purpose. That is how you know you are changing versions. That is how you know the same person is not the same person each time you recall it. They are a different version of them. And that's how you know that each and every one of them are real people. So any persons that you recall memories and videos of, like lived events, snapshots, they are still real physical people, just versions of each other. So we always move through versions of us and others without realizing it. And I hope this makes a little bit of sense in terms of memory. So memory is nothing but a mental image. When you take a mental image and recall it as a stored memory of an event in the past, it's slightly different every time you recall it. When you put it back, or when it goes back to storage, it goes back as that last recall. But the next time you recall it, it's again slightly different. Why? Because you are slightly different. One atom of change, meaning the smallest change, is absolute, complete, whole change all across the board. Meaning, in one parallel world, if a specific person, say you, wore a red shirt to work today, but in another one, you wore a blue shirt, those are two unrelated, separate, whole universes with that one change. So if you make many changes, you've traveled, so to speak, into another universe where your specific someone is a certain way, it's a different version of them, you are a different version. So don't be afraid to understand and accept that mental images and memories are real. And they're made with real people. It's just your version, what you would have liked it to be. You can recall a memory and say that you are now remembering it correctly, remembering it the way it was rather than the way it actually was. Meaning, if the event that you stored was unfavorable or undesirable, you can now recall it in a desirable manner if you want to specifically address that situation or that person. When you do that many, many times over and with clarity and surety that it is an actual lived experience, it then replaces the other one. Because you said to your brain, you just told your brain that this is the correct one. This is the one that, this is the correct memory. Your brain is happy to accept it. Just keep in mind, this is how you can edit or hack your mental images, your memories. Say, for example, you had coffee with somebody and the whole situation was not what you wanted to hear or whatever. You can imagine a different scenario with that so-called person, but this time it'll be a different version of them because they're going to say and do the things that are favorable that you wanted. And you will soon know that these two people belong to two different universes, and yet they are the same in the sense of they identify governmentally as the same name, they look the same or similar. But you'll always notice the bigger your changes, the bigger your revisions, those versions of those people begin to look a little less like each other. Meaning they're almost alike, but there is quite a few noticeable differences. Such as my experience, and this is real life experience, a certain version of a specific person is in real life more tanned in my experience. But I have encountered their other version who was quite pale. And these two people are said to be the same person, but they're not. And there are many, many encounters about such stories, but you will find that even if you cannot, you can make physical differences and changes. I talk about that in my community. You can mark your versions. You can give them a tattoo. You can give them a scar. You can make them like a certain food or music or talk in a way that they never did before. That's how you know they are your versions. And you can then enjoy your dream, your waking dream. Remember, we're talking about lucid waking. This is similar to a nightly dream. So, yes, you can change a lot of things about your versions. It's simple and very easy once you relax your mind and understand how things really function. And you can use your mind and brain and your mechanisms to your benefit, to benefit you, to get your desired end goal. And yes, objectively experience it. Just remember, if you're experiencing it in your awareness, the objective thing is a byproduct. That's how you have to look at it. It's a byproduct, meaning it's inevitable. You don't have to make it happen. You simply need to attend to your inner awareness as if it's your secret world that you go to and you make things happen. You can talk to famous people. You can talk to important people, alive or dead. You can get financial advice. You can get life advice. You can get clues. Whatever you want, you have to know that those are real. You can improve your health. You can do things that you couldn't do. And I know this may feel advanced for some, but if you understand that your waking life is a waking dream and your lucidity is dependent on your knowing of who your true nature is, the one who is wearing your body called your name, then it becomes a lot easier to think and be like I am, which is pure potential. We slip in and out of versions of us, versions of the world, the multiverse. Sometimes we look more or less the same, like we looked yesterday, and then sometimes we just wake up into a new reincarnation, so to speak. That's how I see it. That's how it makes sense to me. And if that makes sense to you, great. If not, that's also fine. Find what makes sense for you. Everybody's experience is unique and different. Just because the multiverse appeals to me or it resonates with me doesn't mean it has to with you, but it can. And if it does, then this is a great place for you to get that knowledge and work on your manifestations. So yeah, mental images are up for editing. And anything that happens in your awareness, imaginary scenes, acts, conversations, know that they are real. Because you're not your body. You wake up with that world and that information is going to play out for you if that's how you want it to. So be careful what you identify with. I would start with minimal practices. I would write down a journal if you have to. I would say some safe words such as, I only meet people in my imaginations or dreams who are beneficial and benevolent to me, those kind of things, so that you don't end up in some horrific scenario. You won't, it's not that easy, but in case you're worried. So you can always instruct your brain. You can always instruct how your lucid dreams at night are going to go, or your night dreams are going to go, and which worlds you'll wake up in. And you'll see the differences right away. Because that's how it is. You just become aligned, so to speak, with your true nature. Remember, you are both the observer, the observed, and the observing. So it's basically I am pure consciousness turning around and looking back at itself and saying, oh wow, this is who I am. I fell asleep and I forgot. But oh, hello, I'm looking at me. You're basically turning around and looking at yourself through this waking dream and saying, oh, okay, that's me. I'm all of this. I'm the sole player. I didn't know till I woke up and looked at myself. That's the moment of recognition. I am is recognizing itself. That's when the dreamer wakes up. And as soon as you disassociate with the illusory world of garment and matter, you understand exactly where you stand. Doesn't mean you have to denounce the material world or become a monk or have apathy and become compliant. I'm not talking about any of that. You can have a thriving, active, energetic life and yet have the inner knowing of who you are and who you'll always be, no matter. Okay? So I hope this video sheds some light, and I hope that it helps answers your questions, puts your mind at rest, gives you peace, so that you can focus on strengthening your imaginal scenes, your awareness, and know that's the only world. The world that you build inside. I will share more stories in the upcoming videos, stories from other people on forums like Reddit and Tumblr, but I choose my stories wisely. I don't just choose any story. The ones that make sense to me and stand out as genuine is what I'll choose. And I'll share some of my personal experiences. Know that you can have dreams with coaches, your favorite coaches, and get coaching and training from them. I have done that inadvertently, not on purpose. Just simply being immersed into their teachings and videos and suddenly realizing I'm in a dream, night dream with them, and they are guiding me or talking to me or we are having a conversation. It's happened on many occasions. And those coaches come in slightly different versions. They're not exactly the exact specific person teaching those videos, but I know that they are the one and the same because it's taking place in a quite far off dimension that I'm physically unable to reach. So again, hope this expands your mind and gives you an understanding of the bigger picture. What's really going on. And you can put down any suggestions you have. If you want to hear about more quantum mechanics and quantum theory, so-called branching of quantum physics, put that down. I can make more videos on that. And if you want to hear stories, I can also do that. And I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.